Hello all, and welcome to Proudland, where it is all of Proud and a diminishing amount of me. I feel like I just keep going down and down and down, playing worse and worse and worse, trying harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm sitting in my comfy chair, digitally talking to a very good friend of mine, Proud.
Hi.
The man who keeps you from jumping off cliffs. Proud.
What?
I don't know. You're good at keeping.
Hey,
people from
you know
jumping
what?
off cliffs.
If you gotta do it, you gotta do it. You know, I'm not gonna take your agency away from you. But I would maybe present some arguments for the alternative position. However, yeah, I mean, I've had friends, or at least like one of my good friends, not Sam, this Sam, a friend, Sam Lamb. I think that's a common enough name that you won't get doxxed immediately.
Sure.
He was super depressed for a while, and he was just like, kind of entertaining killing myself. And I was like, yeah. And we talked about it. But then some people were like, how could you ever think of that? You selfish. Just like, could you fuck off? Like, could you? That's not. I didn't say that.
Oh no, that you talked with him about suicide?
No. The other person was mad at Sam. Like they were giving them like their fucking uppity, like never had a bad thought in their life advice. Like, well, you could just like, yeah. Anyway, that's annoying as shit when you're like, could you just? I didn't tell you so you could be fucking obnoxious at me. But yeah, so hey,
so that I could get your judgment. Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, life's pointless. It's not like it matters. Like maybe you should, I don't know. Do you want to? Like, do you think it's a good idea, or is it going to get better? You never know.
I love how Louis C.K. put it. How he said, "I like life. I don't need life.
I like life just enough to not die, just that much. That's the most that. That's perfect. I mean, nothing matters. Like maybe
think of everything bad in the world, and that is in life."
Yeah, like that sucks. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably exists some person who has had more misery than joy. And like, I mean, mathematically, that is a fine reason to not live.
And yeah, for those of you out there, you probably have somebody's password to Netflix. Log in and watch the Louis C.K. special. Some people say it's his weakest. I disagree completely. I've been following Louis C.K. for
I liked
10 or 15 years. Maybe not his best, but he caught me in a good moment when I watched that. So I think it's his best. But I've seen him live a couple of times, and I don't know. I felt like a comedian coming up with an original routine without hearkening back on any of their old material at all is hard to do, I imagine. Yeah. And this was just completely unique. You got standpoints. I didn't even know he could do voices that well. Like, I've never in a routine heard him do voices.
I mean, he always does he has that voice for like uppity, like Valley Girl kind of thing. He's got that. Justice, but yeah.
But he brought out all sorts of voices in his.
He definitely amped it up. Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Mr. CK. Anyway, we are a Dota 2 podcast. We this week are going to be going over jungle and possibly into durable. Jungle, I mean, let's do a quick precursor. I feel like jungle used to mean a completely different thing, but not more, not less. Like jungling used to be like a legitimate lane, I guess you could call it. Well, it was a type of support.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. In like a real Dota sense, as in like high level, things that you want on your team, jungle was a thing that a support could do. Because if you look at
Crystal Maiden.
No, I want to get this some fucking pristine. Okay, so like what heroes do now? You have your because I mean Dota has changed so much. So they used to just like not be offlaners. You used to have maybe like Darkseer, maybe, and then Darkseer would then get shit on and have to go jungle or something like that.
I remember seeing Zai at level 1 at like 5 minutes.
Yeah, dude,
and still coming back and having a great game. You know
You
what
know
I
what?
mean?
You know what offlaners did at TI4? They picked like Windrunner and then they slowly killed ancients by breaking trees with a quelling blade.
Yeah,
Like that's what an
yeah.
offlaner was. You would kill
They
one
just
set of
like
ancients at fucking 30 minutes or something.
the game has. Wow, you're right. Ti4 was. Like that was my introduction, so I was kind of watching from with like
Yeah.
goggles that I had no understanding of safe lane, off lane, jungle,
Yep.
mid way it mattered. But now that I think back, you're absolutely right. It was like get as much as you can,
Out of
even if that
nothing.
means basically nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which means like getting a quelling blade and hitting ancients for 47 at level 1 for 3
yeah,
minutes. And
yeah,
then you get level 2 or something when the clock hits 4, and then a rune may or may not spawn to the bottom because bounty runes aren't there yet. Anyway,
yeah. Oh my god.
oh yeah, okay. Anyway, going back to relevant stuff. Yeah, so like the way that people acquired resources was very different. Since there was no offlaner, it was absurdly easy to zone the offlaner. There was no kind of dynamic pressure being put out on the map, so there wasn't really a reason to gank safe lane because their supports could always rotate. There wasn't really a way to gank mid because their supports could always rotate, and there was no kills in the off lane because just no one lived there. So everyone was just like super compact in either side, and you kind of just didn't do anything until and this is why CDEC kind of broke open. Or so like the reason why the 5A meta was so strong at like TI4, amongst other reasons, was people would just like, all right, I know you guys are all going to be here. As soon as we have like a slight advantage and you're still farming up, we're just going to put our whole team here and we're going to fuck you up. And you're all in one place. We know where you are, and we're just going to fucking kill everyone. And that's like that's a cool thing to do. But of course, that's gone. But in the path to secure as much farm at any point in the game, or at the early point in the game, with having as few lanes to work off of, you still need supports or whatever, but it would be nice if one of your supports could eat shit out of the jungle, like if, and also that gives you like a big power boost or whatever. Like if you have 5 heroes and maybe like one, the offlaner is getting a little bit out of the jungle in their own way, and then you have a Chen that has like 5 creeps, and then at 7 minutes Chen is like ready to push down a goddamn tower or something. You're actually in a really good position where the other team, they have a Crystal Maiden, and maybe not Crystal Maiden is not the best. Maybe they have Rubik and Visage. Like those guys aren't getting shit out of the jungle, and then their offlaner is like maybe a Bat Rider who's still struggling to get his blink after he's like done a few stacks, but one of them was warded, shit like that. Anyway, yeah, so it's just like junglers used to be the only way that you could get any extra resources flowing into you. But there's so many things that have changed that up. Like a lot of the things that I said were couched on things that aren't true anymore. Like they're now offlaners. There are now reasons to gank. There are like ways to disrupt lanes. Like everything's crazier now. Not only that, but camps spawn half as much. So like the new school of junglers that was viable before 7.0 was you'd have like Art Styles classic. His like the only hero Art Style could ever play was Enchantress because he was still good at that hero. This is like an old Navi player who became a Navi captain, even when he was like really fucking bad, just because, various reasons. But like he just played Enchantress, and all he did is he'd get a creep at like level 1 or whatever, and then walk up to lanes to kill him. So it wasn't so much like he was a jungler, so much as he was a person who ganked by utilizing the jungle. And then when he didn't have, when he wasn't utilizing, or rather when he wasn't ganking, he was using the jungle to farm up a little bit. He was just a roamer that utilized the jungle. Like that's the only thing.
And then you have other classics like Puppy on Chen, which we saw that. I mean, we've seen that within the last year.
Right, yeah, that's kind of the old school of jungler where you kind of farm up with it and then you gank after you get like a few creeps or whatever, but the main goal is to like farm up and then hit a strong timing. Like Chen is not nearly as gank focused as an Enchantress is, but yeah, it's like a happy medium. But now that the camps respawn half as much, like there's no ability to play a hero that relies on jungle camps to do what it does that is not a core. Like
It's never going to be as good. So right before we saw 7.0, which drastically changed everything, they did some jungle changes, if everybody remembers, where they added the off lane hard camp.
Yeah.
That's not really relevant to what I'm about to say, but the Venomancer, the Zai Venomancer that was brought out, the jungle to level 5, go off lane. A really strong way to utilize the jungle once again that could never be replicated now in 7.0.
Yeah, for the most part, no.
The advent of Iron Talon, it felt like it's kind of confusing, like from a player perspective on like how Valve wanted us to view the jungle, because they're like, hey, we want it to be accessible from cliffs, and we want it to be easier for you now with this Iron Talon thing that only works on, you know, creeps that aren't your own and are, you know, enemies or neutrals.
Right.
Specifically for jungling, and I guess to help you last hit, but less so in my lower skill play. But
it was a jungling item. It's a jungling.
Yeah, a jungling item. And then all of a sudden we get to 6.88, and I feel like there's this heavy resurgence of Helm of Dominator, and you have Lunas and Svens primarily stacking ancients, and then this like it becomes like Sven was the way Sven was because of Helm of Dominator for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, I climbed a lot of MMR because I was good at looking at the clock and microing a creep. Like, that's literally it.
Yep.
And like Aoi says, it's really hard to lose when you're an item ahead. And if I lose my lane, well, I can go to a 5 stack of Ancients. Because, you know, for the last 7 minutes, I've been desperately trying, and I missed a couple, but I got a 5 stack. And now all of a sudden we're here where there still is, I feel like, a rhythm to jungling, but I feel like what can jungle is vastly smaller.
Well, let me first say, is there,
Sure.
Did you say jungling as in jungling like LC jungle, or jungling as in, oh, my Sven is level 9 with Yasha and he's now jungling?
Well, so that was
because there's forming a jungle
I was
and then
make.
There's jungling.
Yeah, that was the delineation I was going to make, is that Sven was not jungling, but he was utilizing the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, he was
using
using the farm that was available to him. Sure.
Yes. So he was basically, you know, creating this giant like mutual fund that he was, or like retirement package or whatever you want to call it, stipend or something that he would later grab, which then became, which I thought was really interesting, because the higher I climbed, it was scary if the enemy took it, because I just piled up 1,000 gold that the enemy can easily come in and grab, and so it became like another tower of sorts, another objective for the enemy to take. And I found it to be interesting, but I understand where they're coming from. And then you had the other side of jungling, which was, you know, head against a wall. I am just going to kill creeps until I think I have enough to go out and actually play Dota.
Yeah,
which is the other school of thought of jungling. Which there are some heroes that I feel like that lends well to, like Enigma. Enigma can sit in the jungle. He doesn't, you know, and I know you disagree with me because you think he's a great offlaner, but and I'm sure
I don't think he's a great offlaner. I think he's a meta offlaner.
You think he's a meta offlaner? Okay.
Yeah.
But like Enigma, you know, jungle for a blink or jungle for a mech.
Yeah, jungle for a mech.
Jungle for a mech. Yeah, jungle for a mech. Come out, help your team, push towers with Eidolons. I mean, another Zai example. This is a little bit before the Veno, but Zai's efficiency on Enigma pre 7.0 Enigma jungle was insane. What he was able to pull out of the jungle, and directly helped his team win in a big way. And now I feel like the jungle is definitely just like a jungler is going to find heroes now, if that makes sense. What I'm saying, like, you can't just like jungle forever without coming across a hero, even in lower brackets. Like, you can't like LC jungle anymore, I don't think, without like being forced, like your hand forced to fight.
Yeah, some kind of altercation is going to occur between the treants and the rickies and the bounty hunters that are in the game, and roaming supports trying to take the bounty rune that's in your jungle that you're trying to get. Or your offlaner getting forced out and your offlaner wanting to jungle themselves, and then you run into them like, I wanted this camp. Like, I wanted this camp. Like that shit happens.
So I think it, like, at first I was like, oh man, that kind of sucks. They took away this self-created objective that I was talking about with Sven, like on stacking camps or just on stacking anything. Like if the enemy got into your jungle and you had it stacked, you're like, oh fuck. Like, we just gave them a huge gold swing, which, in a way, like, I thought was fun. But now that I'm a good maybe I don't know how many games I am into 7.0, but
6, I think.
I
I think
like
you have
it
about 6.
a lot more than that. I have 60 on Meepo
6?
in
You
7.0.
played more than 6 hours of this? Jesus.
Yeah, I've played a lot of 7.0, but
You played too many video games, young man. 6
I
hours? That's
play a
almost
lot.
half a day.
I play a lot of Dota. It is just it's the like it was made. I know a lot of people it was made for, but it was also made for me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like this game was just made for me. I'm not good at it, but like video games are meant to entertain you, and Dota does it
I actually
endlessly
don't.
for me.
I don't think that's true.
I also like puzzles. I also like solving things. I also like, and obviously you can tell I'm not good at them, but that doesn't mean I can't like them. You know what I mean? Or can't not like them rather. But
Yeah, I always kind of pegged you
basically,
as a jigsaw kind of guy.
I do. I love chess. I love putting jigsaw puzzles together. Putting Audrey and I often have just a table with puzzles going. Less so since we've had Loki, our cat, who is like thinks he is like definitely a human, like 100%.
I
If
thought you were
ask
gonna
him,
say
he'd be
something
like,
since like the baby. I don't know. Maybe the baby like hates
the babe.
puzzles.
No, it's just
That'd
Loki
be a
jumping
shitty
on the
baby.
table, or he'll
That's
grab
adorable.
pieces.
I want
Yeah,
Loki.
Loki.
I want that cat.
Well, you oh god, he's like his love is so good that
Oh
it's
god,
annoying.
I want a cat
Like,
right now.
oh man, this
I
cat
might
like
actually just leave to go get a cat.
yeah to go. Anyway, basically what I'm getting at is at first I was bummed because I loved the jungle. I felt like that was where true innovation could happen in the game.
Okay.
Was in the jungle, and everybody disagreed with me for good points, and I lost a lot of MMR, and
Right.
I put myself back in the Stone Age because of it. But I still loved like, oh my god, Storm Spirit can jungle. Oh my god, Lena can jungle. Oh my god, Venomancer can jungle. And of course this is pre 7.0. But now I feel like people still can jungle, but it's become a very narrow pool, and the means to the end has become a lot sooner, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
you're not just sitting in jungle forever now. Like Axe, I think he's a really good jungler in 7.0.
Sure.
But to a certain degree. Like maybe like, okay, you're shoved out of off lane. Like there's no way you're gonna get anything out of off lane. Go get your blink. Like you can totally do that as an Axe. Even with things spawning half as often. Because
Sure.
bounty runes are spawning just as often. As they were, and they're spawning all over the place, and
Yeah, I mean,
oftentimes
it's
you can grab a
still
couple.
it's still worse, but it's not the worst thing ever.
Yeah, it's still worse. It's not the worst thing ever. I'm playing in lower pubs. Oftentimes, we will have an Axe jungle and a Centaur off lane, which is not a good team comp, but
It's not
I'll tell
bad,
you what,
honestly. I mean, Axe jungle is fucking broken. Like Axe is so fucking good. I don't know. I have nothing. I have nothing. If anyone wants to pick Axe jungle on my team, I don't give a shit. That's fine. I'm okay with that 100%.
And then you have, I feel like Nature's Prophet fundamentally shouldn't stay in the jungle forever. I feel like teleportation is like a big giant clue for you should be moving around, not sitting stagnant in the jungle. Enchantress, I feel like your example with art style is a really good example for Enchantress. Get the creep you need, go. Get some kills. Go back into the jungle, get some gold, get what you need, go do something. But I feel like this still applies to Enigma. I feel like Enigma still can farm the jungle and still can farm it well. And he can clear camps fast enough on that first like in between 30 seconds and a minute of the game where he can
Get the hard camp and then have
rolling.
it spawn again. Yeah.
Yeah, he can get things rolling pretty quickly. Chen, I feel like, has been hurt really bad because you're always looking for those good creeps, right? I'm not a Chen player, but I feel like satyrs are the good creeps. I feel like a really good Chen wants, a diverse group of creeps, like whether that be
or
the
just 3
summoner
centaurs.
or 3 centaurs for the chain stun if you can do that. Which
Just as many
it's
centaurs
hard.
as you can get. That's
Yeah.
really, I mean, it's like one troll summoner and there's just as many fucking centaurs as you can get. That's how you play Chen.
Yeah.
Get a bunch
But
of
when
fucking
you have
centaurs.
but when you have to wait 2 minutes and
Right,
then
it
there's
just
the
becomes not
RNG.
feasible. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing like, and also not only do you need to get the correct creeps, but you need your cores to not farm them, and that is not happening. Like ever since
yeah,
7.0, there have been a lot of times where I'm like, I need to sit here for 10 fucking seconds and wait for this camp to respawn. Like I'm not gonna wait for
yeah,
10 seconds, and then a Chen pings it and it's like, oh no no no, save the centaur, and you're like,
yeah.
I
And it's gonna
don't.
be like, no,
Can you
no.
just have picked a good hero instead of making me not have 100
Yeah.
gold? How about a hero that
So
doesn't require all the jungle camps?
So that kind of leads us to our list here. I'm looking at Jungler 3 under the Heroes tab in Dota 2. They scale them from Jungler 1, Jungler 2, Jungler 3. We've been doing this. We've gone over Nuker 3s, we've gone over Disabler 3s, now we're on Jungler 3s. And Dota, the devs, however they built this, decided that Chen, Enchantress, Enigma, and Nature's Prophet are the purest junglers.
Right.
And I only really agree with one of them being like jungle as a lane, as a laning phase, which I would
Yeah,
say is
like these.
Enigma.
Yeah, the only one who is actually going to stay in the jungle for the duration of their jungling phase, I think, if played well, is Enigma, at least of the heroes here. I would also say, I definitely agree with you on Prophet. I feel like as soon as you hit level 2, like, level 1 Treant, totally fine. Of course, that's kind of what you need to do if you're going to jungle. And then, like, as soon as you hit 2, you can A-click, like, with your fucking treants at a camp. And then outside of, like, some minor micro, like, I want you to just be staring at the map looking for a thing to teleport into. Because, like,
Yeah.
Prophet's a shitty hero. Like, that hero is fucking bad. It doesn't do
Got a little
do
better,
anything.
but he got a
Yeah.
little better with the +6 damage, which
Oh,
is
for
noticeable.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super good. Especially early games. So what that means is once you hit level 2, you need to go do something. Like
Yeah.
you need to fucking go do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many games. I mean, this is going back to me starting Dota, but of me sitting in jungle for probably till the 20-minute mark until I'm like, okay, even like minus those no boot Dagon games, like let's just even fast forward a year later and I'm still playing
Okay.
Prophet. I'm wanting, and of course these are all incorrect decisions, but you know, hindsight's 2020. But like, I want my Midas, I want my boots, which at that time I was building phase boots. I want, and I think that's still the correct move, but
Yeah,
little
I
did
agree.
I didn't know why I was building phase boots. It's just that's what I build. I build phase boots. And then, I can't remember what I would build, maybe a desolator or something, because my prime objective is to sit in the jungle for 20 minutes and then pop out and try and kill towers, and then a spirit breaker charges me down and I die because I should.
Right.
So yeah, Prophet, I feel like, yeah, I mean, like, he looks like a jungler. He spawns trees from the jungle. He can do it very easily, but look at what he has in his, like, what makes him different from a range creep. Like, you always use this example. He has a pretty damn good disable, as in you can stop
Well,
somebody in their tracks for like 7 seconds. You
it's it's
It
okay.
stops them. It's 6 seconds.
Yeah, it
It's
can be
okay. You're
broken
right.
by
There are
a
ways
quelling
out.
blade or a force staff or
It can be
anything.
broken by a lot of things, but the cooldown is 8 seconds. It lasts for 6 seconds. It's something that has a really good range. Like, it's still it's a good ability. One right
Sure.
there. That does not help you in the jungle, Sprout. Teleportation does not help you in the jungle. Nature's Call, yeah, that's good. That's good for the jungle. Also, that's good for lane. Wrath of Nature. I was playing a Terror Blade, safe lane, and I'm sitting at a little above, I'd say, 2/3 health, and a Wrath of Nature comes in, a well-placed one, and kills me. Because I'm level 5 and this Prophet got 6 because he was moving around and doing things right. And I was like astounded.
Yeah.
So I feel like these heroes all, yes, do utilize the jungle, but the only real jungler here is Enigma. And to add to that list, Axe. I feel like Enigma and Axe
Yeah.
are
If you go
are
to
the
like 2 stars, like the 2 point junglers, Axe actually does pop up, which I'm pretty happy about, to be truthful. Like
oh yeah, Axe Bat
Axe and
Rider,
Bat get added, and I think that's good. I
which
mean,
makes
Bat.
sense.
I don't know if I would put
Bat
Bat.
off lane, bat off lane, maybe go to the jungle for a little while.
Well,
Try
no, I
and
mean,
get a fourth
I
staff
know
or
that
blink.
Bat utilizes the jungle, but I'm just saying, like, if I were to name the heroes that I would be okay with, all right, I'm gonna pick this hero and I'm going to mark jungle. Like, if someone first picks Bat and then says I'm jungling, I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is this?
Yeah. But in dire straits,
You
go to
can't
the
even
jungle.
do that. You can't level 1 jungle on Bat Rider. Like, you can't do that.
I'm sure there's a way, but it's super inefficient and slow.
There's
But
a
yeah.
lot of ways to do a lot of things that are super inefficient and slow.
Yeah.
And for all
But
intents and
Axe, on the
purposes, they
other
don't
hand,
exist.
But Axe doing the double small camp, which does hurt your pull ability for up until the 3-minute mark.
Yeah, never do that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about jungling. The idea behind jungling is that you pull extra resources into your team that you ordinarily wouldn't be getting. And the idea behind that is, okay, adding this other hero maybe won't add that much. Maybe I pick a rumor. Maybe I try to go for a couple kills that don't work. That sucks. Jungling, I know for a fact I'm getting this gold. I'm getting this experience. That's good. Yes, it makes my lanes a little bit weaker. But hopefully, I rush. This is obviously what good jungling is, not what the jungle you're gonna run into. I'm gonna like rush an item that very quickly will make up for the lost presence. So like I'll play Axe, I'll get my tranquil boots, I'll rush blink. Yes, I know that you died once safe lane or mid or something, but I'm gonna get this blink at whatever 12 minutes or something. I don't know how fast Axe gets a blink. And as soon as I get it, I'm going to run up and I'm going to blink into your lane and you're going to get that kill back. And then we're going to take that momentum into taking a tower and then everything will be okay. Axe will take care of you from there. If you not only are fucking your lanes up, but then you're also taking their pole camp, that's obviously bad. And then also I want to add in that there's literally no reason that you would ever do that.
Well, if right now if you were to YouTube Axe Jungle 7.05, the reason why they do this
Where all the
is
best
because,
Dota advice is gotten.
Yeah, of course.
The
But
first result on YouTube.
Yeah, of course, where all the best advice is got, where you receive it. But the justification for the small camp twice, the 30-second, is it's because you can clear the first one in 30 seconds. You can go back and you can clear it again in a minute, which gets you to level 2. So then you have call, which gives you armor for the medium camp. So you can thus like snowball in the jungle if you're doing a level 1 jungle Axe. That's the reason for it.
Alternatively, you get an Iron Talon and you kill the hard camp, and then you kill the hard camp again in the same amount of time.
But with an Iron Talon, you can only do Iron Talon Tango, and you don't have a Stout Shield. So how you start with, and this is just pure YouTube. Of course, this is just nonsense, and I'm glad that you're debunking it. But
yes,
you start Stout Quell, Salve, and you
so
take
you're
the small
purposefully
camp.
jungling slowly.
Yeah, well, it's actually, this is the I believe based on these YouTubers that this may be the quickest way to jungle to a blink.
Could be. It's also
because
the
you
worst.
eventually get the Iron Talon. You eventually do get the Iron Talon.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you want like good old fashioned Axe jungling, that's actually not good old fashioned. Actually, good Axe jungling. At least if you're gonna be like an offlane or whatever. I mean, the Iron Talon is great to have. Obviously, in that video you do get it later. But as far as Axe jungling goes, Iron Talon Tango is good. Eat the Tangos. Your mid's gonna get their salve out immediately. When the courier comes back, it's still not gonna be about a minute before anyone needs a courier again. That's when you get your Stout Shield, and then you just try to rush those Tranquil Boots up. Yeah, and it's great.
And once you have Tranquils, it's all figured out. Especially with Backpack now, there's literally no risk anymore to jungling Axe level 1. But so I haven't tried it, but like, if you were to do Iron Talon Tango, I think what you would have to do is, I think you could clear the hard camp before the.
I mean, I know for a fact
that you would have a second hard camp. Okay, so you can clear the hard camp before, but how hurt are you without having a Stout Shield?
You're kind of hurt. But like the idea is that you
can't
get
take it again.
Yeah, no, you can. If you're using your Tangos, then you'll probably get level 2 off the first hard camp. Then you have your Q. Yeah, you're fine. You also probably want to get a salve delivered to you with your Stout Shield, and you're fine. Or another set of Tangos. No big deal.
And you probably have the gold to do that, just from
if you're killing two hard camps, yeah. I mean, you have Yeah, no, you're like
And
the
there's a
first hard
shrine.
camp. Well, the shrine is
don't
not
ta-
for fucking you. Holy
Not
shit.
for no, it's not for you. But if the mid needs it, and you can get lucky that like okay, the mid needs it, and then you can hop on
I
the
don't even
train.
fuck with that. Like as soon as you're like, "Hey mid, do you need the shrine? Because I could use it." It fucks their entire lane up, and then they start doing stupid shit that they didn't want to do.
Yeah,
and then they're walking
like,
up to the
okay.
shrine, and then they're walking away.
Yeah.
Like I was playing a game earlier, and this dude like roamed and fucked up, and then was like begging me to use the shrine, and so was saying he was just gonna use it if I didn't come anyways. So like I
so you
walk
felt
up
forced.
to it. Yeah, so like I walked up to it, and then my lane was super far pushed, and then when I walked down for it, they knew that I was going to be there because I did it at a bad time. I had to walk down like and forward, and the dude was just like behind a tree, and then like two people just like walked out and killed me, and it was just like like that happened because I went to the shrine when it was not a good idea.
But there's also shrines in base which cuts your distance down by
that is
at
definitely
least
true.
40% or 30%. If you just go to that like mid shrine that's right there by the mid tier 3, which is utilized in a lot of these like shitty jungle builds that you'll find on YouTube because people want to jungle because it's easier than fighting other humans because you're fighting robots.
And it's easier than
You know what I
supporting.
mean?
Holy shit.
Yeah. And you can get gold. And no, I swear to God, every single Dota player loves the sound, I think it's the sound. I'm not sure what it is, but that sound of gold is like, it's just satisfying. It's just, I don't even know what it sounds like right now. But when I hear it, it makes me happy. You know what I mean? And I feel like that is like maybe a big reason why people jungle is because, especially at lower tiers, it's because they're not used to hearing that sound. But when they're in the jungle, they hear that sound a lot.
Oh, the sound is very important.
Yeah, the sound is. I read a big article on Dota sounds and how they.
Dota sound
they're
design is
like one of the only games.
Dota sound design is top tier, honestly.
Yeah, and okay, sidebar. People, I know like 3 people who turn hero voicing off, and I feel like that's a fucking crime. I'll say that much. Like the hero lines.
I mean, after you've played enough Dota, like I can see it, but there's only a couple that I'm not a fan of. Like I really want. I mean, you've heard me talk about Tiny. I hate.
Yeah,
the
I know.
Tiny.
We've already talked about Tiny, and
I love.
like that,
I love his voice. I just hate his lines.
They're cheesy and they're low hanging fruit. I get where you're coming from.
It's too much. Too easy.
But like you never with hero combinations and the permutations of how to pick a hero like. You never know how, like, Juggernaut's going to respond to a Luna. And you're like, oh, my God, I didn't even know they made a voice line for Juggernaut
like, I didn't know
to a
that
Luna on your team.
Their fucking aunts used to date back in 1987.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
And you build this, like, I don't know, like, this almost relationship with the hero based on their voice lines. Yeah. I love them. Like, it's not like StarCraft where it's like, in the rear, in the rear. Yeah. Not enough mineral, not enough, like... They're like hundreds of voice lines, hundreds of hours of voice lines for each hero. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but there's definitely hours of voice lines for each hero. So
yeah, no, there's a lot of shit to it. I love it. The person that I started playing Dota with, we played Lich Clinks together a shit ton because we were like the fire and ice skeletons, and they had a ton of lines with each other, and it was just that's like cool. Cute as fuck. It was great.
And I didn't even know Lich and Clinks had lines together because
Clinks. They have and it was like I was getting into Clinks, they were getting into Lich, and it was just Lich Clinks all the time every day. It was great. And that's why I'm good at Clinks now, so that I worked out, and Clinks is so good right now. Holy shit, my Clinks is fucking dope.
I think that's cool. So what I would like to do, Proud, is I'd like to go over some previous junglers. I'm just putting this on Jungler 1.
Okay.
At this point, Jungler Tier 1. So
worth noting, Legion is not here.
Legion is not here,
but fucking Lycanthrope is. What? Yes,
and that's I was gonna get into this. So we've already talked about Axe, Lifestealer. I feel like he is on this list because guess what? He lifesteals without having to buy an item,
and that's what you do in the jungle, right?
You
lifesteal?
Putting 2 and 2 together, boing. That means I can jungle.
Yeah,
and that is it. And that is it. You know what I mean? Like, that's
he's
the logic,
okay
though.
at it. He's just not good at it. He's
I mean,
worse
he
than
can
Wraith
level
King.
1 jungle. He can level 1 jungle for sure.
Yeah, hey, so can Doom.
and so can Doom, and
Yeah, Doom has a
and so
one
can
shot.
Lycan.
Doom is dependent upon creeps to have skills. Why ain't he on this list?
I know it seems silly. But like going over these like Ursa, for instance.
Yeah, she's
This
a
was a
jungler,
hero
sure.
that
If you can.
I had an awesome win rate with Ursa. Doing the what would you say? This is before Iron Talon. I think it was like Stout, Quell, Tango.
Yeah, some
And
people
then
didn't
you.
even go Quell. Some people went Stout, Stout Ring of Protection because all of your damage is
Oh
from your
yeah.
Fury swipes, and it was percentage based, so it was just like some percent of your 47 base, and that just wouldn't scale, so you would just get the survivability and like a clarity or something. But that's
Oh okay.
yes. Some people would do
Okay.
that. You would have Stout, Stout Ring of Protection, Tango, and then like ship out a Clarity and a Salve maybe, and then you could take Roche at level 3 with that.
Well, I didn't play it back on the level 3. It was level 6 that, and maybe you could at level 3 at this time. This is probably
Yeah,
a
it
year
was
and a
level
half
3
ago.
around TI5, I think, is when that was first coming out.
Okay, so what I
A little
would
bit
do
after TI5, you
is
could do it at level 3. Yeah.
this is back when I was playing me, Wazoo, and Cyphus. Always, it was just
Yep.
always us three, and I was the wild card. Cyphus would always play 5 support.
Is this like a
Wazoo would
Always
play
Sunny in
safe lane.
Philadelphia wild card where they're like, we don't need a wild
Yes.
card. There's no
Yes, I
advantage
was-
to having unpredictability within the group, and you're like, wild
Yes.
card.
Yeah, it is exactly like that. Like
Okay.
I would sometimes be mid, I would sometimes be jungle, I would
Yeah,
sometimes
this
be off lane.
is why you are definitely the Charlie Day in the group.
Yes, I definitely was, and I was not good at things, which I feel like also translates well to all of the members in Always Sunny, but Charlie Day especially. But
Yeah.
I would beg
I'm
Danny
Mac,
to pick
right?
Crystal
We said I
Maiden.
was Mac.
I feel like that's a Mac thing to say if you're gonna say I'm definitely
Right, no,
Mac.
you're right.
So,
Yes, you're-
like only Mac.
Like, I
would
need to
say,
check
"I'm
up with you
definitely
guys."
Mac. Yeah,
Like, I'm Mac. Like, I'm kind of insecure about whether or not I am
Sure.
Mac. Yeah, but I don't want
I
to
feel
act
like
like I
Ursi
am.
has some Dennis tendencies.
Oh, Ursi is Dennis. No, that's definitely, like, that is known.
Yeah. I feel like Denny might be D. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no,
just
he's-
because
like,
he
no,
gets made
no,
fun of, and he's like, "Oh goddamn, man," you know what I mean? Like, "Oh goddamn it." But,
Yeah, and then Charlie is Frank. Oh no, it's not that. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, no, I had a realization. I think that you're actually pretty Frank. Like you're pretty Frank. Like you're a mix between
I
Charlie and
just like
Frank,
live
and
off like
like
yeah.
you just kind of pop in, and then some like weird shit comes up. Like that's and like, but Grouty's also part Frank because he's like only peripherally like in the gang.
yeah.
I don't know. There's like a
Yeah,
weird
I
like you're
guess.
both 50% Charlie, 50% Frank.
But I am definitely Charlie when it comes to Dota.
When it comes to Dota, yes.
I like sometimes like, and the wild card sometimes pulls off cool shit. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you're like, "Wow, Charlie, that was really good."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
And-
that's less often than
Yeah, that's a bit less.
Yeah, that's a bit less often.
Yeah.
Anyway, my Ursa thing was the reason for Quell was to do choke jungling, because I
Yeah.
figured that I could get my Morbid Mask, which used to be 900 gold, and that was the goal, right?
Better
Once you got
days.
Morbid,
Better
you
days.
could jungle forever,
Yeah.
and never have to go home. So it's kind of nice to reminisce. I will tell you, the scum of Earth are Bloodseeker junglers. Hate them.
Just, I mean,
Absolutely, with
like,
all my heart.
Bloodseeker isn't that bad a jungler. It's just like the Legion Commander issue. Like, Legion Commander is honestly a pretty good jungler, and it's not that crazy for, like, if you take, like, a really good, competent player, and then they Legion jungle, and they aren't tilted, and they're just, like, actually gonna legit play it, like, it's pretty good. It's just that,
Yeah.
like, if you play Bloodseeker, like, every person who plays Bloodseeker is a role player, and they will be that rude asshole who cares about nothing but blood and screaming, like, as soon as they load into
Yeah.
that character. Like, only fucking assholes are allowed to play Bloodseeker.
So Bloodseeker, yeah. Anytime I see a Bloodseeker picked, I'm like, scum of Earth, don't like you.
And they always do some shit-ass build
hate that hero.
that has, like, a fucking Yules into Dagon or, like, fucking
the Dagon.
Radiance and
Oh
shit.
my God.
Dude, as soon as
Where they put the Q on them and then Dagon,
Yeah.
and then oftentimes I just see the other person who now has Bloodseeker's life
Damage
steal
amp or
ability,
whatever.
I guess you
Yeah.
can call it, and then they just heal up to full because they get like a hero kill or something like that.
Yeah.
I
Anyway,
also
Bloodseeker.
alternatively hate and this is something that I did for a long time. The Sand King junglers, the Sandstorm junglers.
Yeah, that's kind of
especially now in 7.0.
So Sand King is like also here, but I mean he's also another hero that I would say like this hero can't jungle. Like Sand King can't jungle at level 3. He
was
can.
all about stacking. He was all about stacking.
And it's
he
mostly
can jungle
like,
now at level 1 with Sandstorm. They made it so that it's a long enough duration that he can.
Yeah, he does have the ability to kill a camp with one of his skills. That I don't disagree with. But he's not
the efficiency aspect.
Yeah, like I can kill any amount of camps as long as I'm allowed to walk back to base at any point in time and then return to it. But that doesn't doesn't make me a jungler.
Yeah. That's true. And yeah, back in my heyday, it would be soak to level 3 in safe lane while all the time while stacking that closest hard camp.
Yep.
And then just pop it on, get like a 4 stack or a 5 stack if I was lucky, and then blink dagger. And then
that's good stuff. Like that's solid, but that's not a jungler. That's like someone who is able to farm a stack while supporting a lane.
Yeah, for sure. Although I was more in it to like, all right, I'm just gonna hide in the trees and get the experience. No, I was in it to get the experience and then stack.
Right.
But Lycanthrope, this hero, I feel like is just like a remnant of past. Like,
like TI2.
I didn't play. Yeah, so I know there were some drastic changes with his wolves. I don't know exactly. It was before my time, but I know that wolves used to like tank more or have more armor or have more health, which is why Lycan was a really good jungler. Am I wrong on this?
Yeah, it was like right after, I think TI2 was when he was being played as a jungler. Like you would have like a puppy jungle, as a 4, you would have a Lycan that would just jungle because he was absurdly strong and stupid and broken. But yeah, he had like, his wolves had 400 health, which is literally double what they have now at level 1. So it wasn't like, the thing people normally say is, "Oh, it's Lycan. Your wolves don't tank for you. You tank for your wolves," which didn't used to be the case. People say that because it was like a new concept. But yeah, it used to be like his wolves were pretty tanky, and between the two of them, you had 800 health, so like extra buffer before your hero is even touched, and like you can summon them like one pair before the fucking camps even spawn, and then once it's done, you can summon another. Like your Lycan is just never gonna take damage.
Like when you blow a bubble.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, no, I'm well aware of it.
Like the film, like how easy they pop?
Yeah.
Like that is how weak I feel like Lycan's wolves are.
Yeah, they're very tiny.
Like they get hit once by a centaur and they're like...
That is exactly what they sound like. You're correct. Yeah, they have 200 health and 1 armor, and they don't have a stout shield. They don't have stout shields. You can't buy them stout shields. So, so
was
they just kind of fucking die. It used to be 0, but they had 4. Oh, excuse me. But they had 400 health, and now they have 200 with 1.
Okay, which
anyway
is going to come out to like maybe 220 EHP or 230 EHP, maybe.
Yeah, it's 6% of that. Yeah, so it's like 212.
Okay, 212. Oh, okay, not
great.
So at one point he was viable. Now jungling Lycan requires talons and stout shields and
skill.
Regen.
There was some guy who jungled a Lycan in one of my games, and as soon as I saw it moused over, I was like, "Are you really going to do that?" I thought it was just a stupid person who just didn't know that Lycan actually couldn't jungle. But they did great, and they played well, and they won the game for us. And I was like, "Well,
probably micro wolves."
I don't even know. Like, I mean, hey, I've tried, and you know that I'm not like bad at micro.
No.
I don't know.
Masters StarCraft, even though you talked crap on that game and kind of hurt my feelings a little bit.
And oh yeah, I need to update for that one. I misspoke at some point. I said the only interesting unit that the Protoss had was Colossus. I immediately then went on to talk about how stupid and shitty the Colossus was. I actually meant to say the only good unit is the Immortal. The Immortal's the only cool unit the Protoss had. Immortals were dope as fuck. Holy shit,
the problem with Immortals was getting them in range to shoot.
I don't care. There was no problem with them. They were the best. Dude, they were perfect.
No, that was what was fun about them. Is that you had to get them in position.
Oh, and then once they did, they were just like...
Oh, they would just...
Oh, God.
Oh, man, dude, they were...
Yeah, so that's what the Dragoon was in StarCraft 1. That was my base. Like, instead of Stalker, I just had a 1,000 fucking immortals with one
me
guy.
too. I did dragoon builds and Brood
dude,
War,
only goons all the time. Yeah, and that's when Star 2 came out. It was like, oh, now you have stalkers, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what?
But I liked the blink aspect. Anyway, enough StarCraft.
Stop.
So I want I'm honestly having a hard time losing the jungle because I loved it is so much.
Yeah, I know.
So
just play Axe, man. Just play fucking Axe. If you need to jungle, play Axe. That's what you do.
I know.
Like, Axe is so fucking broken.
And I'm gonna demo or not demo go because demo doesn't have a jungle. I'm gonna go into like a lobby and do all that and try that hard camp thing that you're talking about. And even if it requires me walking to a shrine, like walking to that mid shrine, that doesn't really matter that much. It matters more if you're on Dire, but it doesn't matter a ton. But yeah, like, what about Brood? I mean, you know, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm sitting here and looking at all these heroes. Where it's like, I used to jungle these. I used to jungle all these heroes. Anyway, so what would you say to end all conversation on jungling, now that the map is the way it is, how and who should it be done?
Axe and with an Iron Talon quickly.
No Enigma? You wouldn't throw Enigma in there in any circumstance? Because he's a meta offlane, but don't you think he still works?
No, I mean, kind of. I don't know. Like, I mean, any hero can win a game of Dota too, you know? But if I was, like, would I rather have an Enigma than an Axe in almost any situation as my jungler? Probably not.
For sure. What do you think about stacking? Just because things are coming up half as often, do you think supports should be stacking?
For sure, yeah.
And it's the weirdest thing that, like, they took the jungle away, like, they took 50% of the jungle away, and now we don't, like, I feel like stacking has gone down drastically.
Well, okay, so if you think about what people have to do on the map, right, there's the runes and stacking camps, and obviously you can't have a lane support that's not doing shit at any point. And the amount of, like, the buffer time in between performing actions in the game of Dota 2 is about 40 seconds, I want to say, just to say something completely arbitrary and remotely unfounded, or mostly unfounded, rather. But let's just play with that. It's probably somewhere between 20 and 50 between most actions, especially if they're between lanes, but probably about 40 seconds. So if I'm going to walk to get think of Radiant safe lane when my support says, okay, I'm gonna go get a bounty rune, and then I'll be like, right back.
That's how you imagine it.
and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, hey, I'm dying, and then they're like, I'm like halfway to this bounty rune. I'm just gonna see this one through, and you're like, okay, I'll just sit under tower then. And then they're like, okay, I got the bounty rune. And then they come back and, you know, they throw 3 snowballs and they get that offlaner out. They're like, everything's fine. And then you finally got your lane under control. And so they got the bounty rune. They left a little early, so they left it maybe like, because they didn't want the enemy roamer to get it. So they left it, let's say like 1:30 to get it. And then they get there at like, you know, 1:55, and then they wait another 5 seconds. So they've been gone now for 30 seconds, and now they need to run back, which is probably about 15-20 seconds. And it's been almost like about a minute at this point. And then they say, oh shit, I gotta go stack for Alcateel. I gotta.
You're absolutely right. Wow, that's brilliant.
I gotta stack.
I didn't think about that because the even minutes matter and the odd minutes matter.
Yeah.
Which makes it really hard. And helping your carry matters. And so, like, there's literally not enough time in the Dota day to get everything done.
Yeah, there's literally not enough time to, because like the main way people used to stack, like this is like the TA classic, is on every even minute you go to your ancients and then you pull the ancients at like 1:54 into the rune. And then you pick up the rune and you get an ancient stack at the same time. And that's how you play TAs. You like lane for about a minute and 40 seconds, and then you pull the ancients into the rune. That's just how you play TA. But of course that doesn't work
Okay.
anymore. But like, and it's similar thing to supports. Like you do whatever for however long, and then you stack a camp, do everything for however, then like stack a camp into guarding the rune, shit like that. Like that's how you play efficiently. But that you can't do that anymore. So a lot of times people choose. They say, am I going to stack a camp or am I going to get this rune? And most of the time, supports are more interested in getting their own rune than stacking for you.
Okay, so I'm glad you got into the psyche and into the logistics as well. That totally makes sense because I'll be honest, like if lane's going well, see you later, dude. It's a minute 30. I'm going to make sure I get my bounty rune and theirs. And by the time I get my bounty rune and theirs, I'm lucky if by the time I get back into my jungle, I have time to stack anything. Because I bet 3 minutes is hit already. So that's a really good point. I used to...
And then also, like, what camps are you going to stack? Like, think about how far away the bounty rune is.
Yeah.
And then any camp you're going to stack is in fucking Timbuktu.
Yeah. I mean,
Man, I'm like echoing a little bit. Am I like hella fucking loud?
I'm not picking it up at all. I'm not picking it up at all.
All right. Everything's okay then, I guess.
Everything is fine. Yeah. So you either have the stacking the contended camp, which is the hard camp that is nearest your off lane opponent if you're in the safe lane.
Yeah.
Or you have the medium camp that is like your middle ground by the bounty rune, or you have your Timbuktu hard camp, or you have your Antarctica hard camp, which is where your off lane is.
Right.
So it's like sometimes when you just got to hear things before they make sense. You know what I mean? Especially for me, like I just got to hear it before it really clicks.
No, I feel you, babe. That's what I'm here for.
Because I was like, God, I used to stack all the time. I used to do all this, and now I just never do it.
And now you have an excuse for why your play is subpar, and you don't need to fix it now.
So what would you say? Okay, we are both perfect. Okay, what am I doing?
So, yes.
Hypothetically speaking, for me at least, what are we doing? Like, what am I doing as a support to ensure
if we were
everything?
perfect, we'd probably be exercising more often, and we'd be eating better.
Some green in there. I don't eat any green.
We'd have trust funds or better trust funds. I don't know. Maybe some. I don't know the situations. But it's like various things. We'd have accolades of some sort, I imagine. I'm in a pretty heavy deficit for the amount of accolades I have. I'll be honest with you. I could use more accolades. I wake up quite often and I say, today I need if I'm not going to get an accolade, I need to make some progress on my accolades. But that's a story for another day.
So what?
I bet Cyphus has accolades. He seems like that kind of like an accolade gilded gentleman.
He has. He's been published, and all sorts of things. Yeah. But here's the thing.
I'm ready for this.
I brag and have no accolades. I am a braggart with nothing, and Denny is a very reserved, very humble individual with a lot of things.
Well, once you got accolades, once you're gilded in accolades.
Oh, he's gilded in accolades, dude. He is. Like I feel bad. He'll be fine with this. He has.
That's how every good statement starts.
He has the opportunity to go to Columbia or Harvard to pursue a doctorate in psychology. Sounds right dumb, now, he has a letter of recommend, and his grades were by far good enough. He could go to Harvard or Columbia on a PhD program for psychology. He has fucking accolades. But you'll never hear him talk about it.
I mean, I could go to Waga's summer Dota camp. You don't see me bragging about it.
I saw that too and was like,
I kind of just want to like go somewhere and then like this sounds fun. I don't know.
But me, like, I find $5 on the ground and I'm going to talk about it for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And be like, or like, I get like, like, I don't know. What? I don't have accolades either. What? I don't know. I don't get accolades, so I don't even know what it's like. I can't even come up with examples of accolades.
Maybe then you'll know what it's like to have
Yeah.
the accolades.
But like, I mean, I remember getting like B minuses in physics 2220 and being like 3 months in a row being like, guess who just got 2220 B minus? Fuck yeah.
Nice.
And
Don't talk about school. You're
Danny's
stressing me out. You're stressing me out. We got to get out of this one.
okay. Yeah, we can get out of this. Anyway, we're gonna close this actually.
Are we really?
Yes, we're gonna close this Jungle Book because unless there's any last minute thoughts you want to put on this.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I think jungling is pretty fine. Honestly, you just need like how you jungle is you fuck up everything for your whole team, and then you get one item, and then you need to fix everything for your whole team. Like that's what you do. You need to be like you need to be like a really really bad boyfriend who has like really shitty communication, but like actually does kind of care. Like I know this is rare, but like a really shitty boyfriend who's just like completely unaware that they're shitty, like doesn't communicate, stresses you out, like oh maybe they're like cheating or whatever. Like it just seems like he's been really distant lately, but like he actually is just like really working on his career or something, or he's just been really like working on getting you like making a really nice birthday present. And they're like, oh, you were absent, but you actually just like at the wood shop, like making this sweet, sweet menorah for me. Like, thank you, kind boyfriend. So like you just hang out in the jungle. You're like, we're fucked. This guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's always absent. Told my parents that he'd come and he didn't show, and he didn't tell me why until a day later. I don't know what's going on with this joker. And then you pop out with the brown boots and a blink dagger, and you're like, hey, I'm sorry I still have brown boots on, but I made this blink dagger for you, and now I've killed 2 humans. And then they're like, good, kill the humans. And that's what you need to be.
The way I look at it, yours is way more
If
hilarious.
this isn't a boyfriend metaphor, I'm not interested.
It's not. It's a chess metaphor where there are
my
many
God, sounds
times in
boring as
chess where
shit.
you give the tempo away. So like you start on white. You have the tempo until you give it away, and there are some circumstances where you know you're going to give the tempo away because you're going to regain it in a better way.
Yeah.
Tempo meaning they're reacting to you. You're not reacting to them.
Sure. And there is a certain, like, I mean, in pubs, yeah, like if you have 4 cores farming, like if I have, you know, fucking Juggernaut and then Shadow Fiend and then Centaur or Abaddon or something, like all these heroes kind of demand to be dealt with and pressured, and then I put an axe in the jungle, like they need to do shit. Your enemies now, like the ball is in their court, the onus is on them. I don't know any more sayings. I was really gonna try to chain some, but I'm out. The tempo is on them. They are now playing black after you've given the tempo away. And shut up. And the pressure's on them. And the worst thing that pubs are so bad at seizing an opportunity to do something. So like, as soon as you pick a jungler, that's when it's their job to be like, oh shit, let's go gank their lanes. But they don't know what the fuck they're doing. They all have each other muted, and their Ricky like initiated before their Crystal Maiden was ready, and you just walked away. So everything's fine now. So like, I mean, having a jungler isn't that bad. Like when we were playing with Hakuna Marana, we lost to a good amount of like jungler teams in 5-man coordinated Dota because they were just like, it's too many people to fuck up. Like we can't fuck everyone up. Someone's gonna be unfucked, and then they're gonna fuck us back. We will be the receiver of the fucks, and that's not what we signed up for.
But the unfucking can be hard.
It's difficult to unfuck a situation, I will say. But yeah, I mean, like jungling isn't bad. You just need to like, you need to. It needs to be an investment, and it's like, kind of like okay, so like one of the main downfalls of like laissez-faire capitalism shit is like it assumes like the market can withstand loss, but like people can't. Like you can't just like, oh well, some people will be like out of a job for however long, but if there's no safety nets, they're just gonna die. Without money, they just die. So you need like a quick transition. Like, okay, yes, maybe we'll do the investment real quick in switching up, you know, like some company shit. But we need to, like, you can't do that for long. People can't go without money. They can't go without a 5th teammate for long without just fucking starving to death and dying. So if you're gonna fuck everyone out and then no one has a job and they're all dying unemployed, you need to get that blink dagger and then fucking like use it to seize the means of production. Know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. You guys, thank you so much for listening to Defense of the Patients. You can, of course, find us at defenseofthepatients.com. Be looking out in the next by May 1st for a great new website. We're super excited, all of us. Also, twitch.tv/.btv. I stream every single day at 12:30 p.m. Eastern fucking daylight time, whatever. I stream Dota. I play. I'm highly interactive. From here on out, I'm going to start streaming that day's episode. So tomorrow, I'm going to stream Proudland, for instance, for the first
while
bit
playing.
of it.
No, while playing. It's not just going to be the episode.
While playing. Yes. So I'm going to stream Proudland and play a game. This is a way that I can listen to the episodes and play the games because just like there's not enough time for the support to stack and get the bounty, there's not enough time in my day to listen to everything, and I found a pretty good solution. So it's not me just wanting to hear my own voice, it's me wanting to hear Proud's voice. Because after all, it's perfect.
My voice is weird, honestly.
I like your voice.
Yeah, it's kind of
everybody thinks their own voice is weird.
Well, no, but mine is actually like it's not weird as in like
no,
weird.
It's a normal voice.
Is it though?
Yes, I feel like it's a normal voice. Trust me, you got lucky, dude. You could have gotten unlucky.
I could have gotten unlucky. That's certainly true. It's yeah.
I've heard some people that didn't. Yeah. You got a good voice. Don't worry about it.
It's
Patreon.com/defense the patients. By the way, I think we sent everything out to all of our patrons. Our Patreon rewards are going to be changing in a fun and exciting way.
Yeah, they're getting way worse.
Also, come May 1st.
Y'all got gypped. That's a bad thing to say. Don't say
they're
gypped.
not going to. They're getting a lot more creative and fun, in my opinion. And
yeah, no, I agree. Don't say gypped though. Cut that one out. Censor that one. That's a shit word. It's fucking garbage.
Okay. Also, I love you guys. Thank you for listening to
just in case you were wondering.
In case you're wondering, I do say I love you a lot. I used to throw it around a lot when I was a teenager without meaning it, but I do mean it. You guys have let me live my dream, and I don't think I'm appreciating it enough lately. So I'm going to take a moment and appreciate me living my dream right now. Thank you.
Marvel fucking sucks, dude. I'm so tired of Marvel at this point. Like, it's absurd.
Oh man, please, Proud, please. I tend to agree with you, but please, I'm trying to close the show, and I would love to talk to you about Marvel, and how much I agree, and how shitty that last Avengers was. Oh god.
Oh, not even the movies. I don't. Well, I mean the movies also, but I mean shit, man. Anyway. They're doing this event where everyone's a Nazi now. I don't know why at this climate of the world you'd be like, hey, what if we just like endorse Nazis real quick? Like that's not really I wouldn't go with that in the current, climate of the world. Anyway.
Well, unfortunately, it's popular.
Well, I don't know about that, but it is what they're doing.
Well, I am Roland. That is Proud. And this was an episode about jungling in Dota 2.
Was it, though?
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay.
It was kind of like historic.
Yeah, no, I wanted us to make sure that we were definitely like sure what this was about.
This is Roland for Proud saying I am definitely sure this was about jungling.
Yep.